Hey there, new video idea I'm trying out here. Gonna take all the games I played for this week and talk a little longer about them than I do in the shorts. Elaborate on the strengths, maybe bring up a weakness or two. I want to say up front, I liked all these games. Games I played but didn't like, I don't talk about. So when I'm talking weaknesses, that's not to tear the game down. It's me mentioning things that might stop you, the viewer, from enjoying it as much as I did, or on the off chance a developer sees this, feedback on these games so they can make their next games even better. Cool? Cool. We're starting this off with a puzzle game. Please don't touch anything. You're sitting at a desk with a button. There's 11 endings to get, a few hints scattered around the environment about what you're supposed to do. There's a Steam version with more puzzles and endings, but it's not free, so I didn't play it. I'm only talking about the itch.io version. The most immediately impressive thing about it is just how many different puzzles they crammed onto one desk. Seriously, less than half of the total screen real estate is taken up by the desk itself, and everything you need to interact with to solve every puzzle, well, all but one puzzle, is in that desk. Buttons, switches, more buttons, drawers, levers, still more buttons. It all believably unfolds or opens in different areas. None of it is inconveniently small or difficult to interact with. Just great design all around. There's a good mix of obvious and obtuse clues to work with too. That's good for puzzle games in general, but especially when you've got multiple puzzles in the same area, helps the player feel like they've got some momentum keeping them going when they hit the harder ones. Honestly, my biggest complaint, and spoilers for one of the puzzles here, go play real quick and see if you can figure it out first if you're interested in the game, is that one of the endings is found by just not doing anything. Like, yes, you're following the instruction you're given at the beginning of the game, and if you're lucky, you figure it out by actually trying to do just that and then being patient, but like, I got that one by accident, just leaving the game running while I wrote up the initial script for the short. I have a hard time considering something a good puzzle if I can solve it just by, like, needing a long bathroom break instead of actually needing to figure it out myself. Still, it was a 3-day game, 10 out of 11 endings worked for me, and the stuff I do count as puzzles were pretty satisfying to solve. I kinda want more puzzles to solve, maybe a little more linearly though. And speaking of a linear sequence of puzzles, the next game I played was Golem Quest. This one is more of a programming puzzle game. You've got a golem, the clay robot kind, not the little gremlin who body shamed poor Samwise, and you're on some tiles floating in a void. You need to get the golem from the level start to the level end, dealing with breakable tiles, gaps in said tiles, and collecting crystals to open the exit. But the golem can only receive 5 orders to loop through, and you've only got between 2 and 4 possible commands to give, depending on the level. There's 9 levels to go through, and past the initial tutorials, they all struck a good balance of difficulty. Challenging enough that I had to try a few different things and refine my approach to each, but not so hard that it stopped being fun. There's a few points where the solution involves a lot of loops just bumping into walls, and that gets kind of tedious. Still, the golem is pretty cute in this art style, hopping from one space to the next and all. You know, another cute cartoon thing that hops from one space to the next? The cat in Six-Sided Sojourn. This was a simple enough concept. 6-sided little planet, enemies to kill, potions and upgrades to collect, the occasional spike trap. Pretty engaging for that simplicity though. Combat is very positioning oriented. Upgrades have an element of luck, so there's a little bit of tension. Not spectacular, but it held my attention the entire time. And who doesn't like seeing cartoon animals fight monsters and collect treasure? Certainly not the developers of the next game, Super Pionpon. Main character here is a cartoon rabbit with, like, an excavator claw on a string. You can use it to dig through dirt, grapple to walls, pull enemies to you, or just grab the gemstones scattered around the level at a distance. It keeps a steady flow of new elements coming at you too. Some checkpoints within the levels would go a long way towards keeping me in the zone, though even the longest levels are pretty short by general platformer standards. Overall, it's a fun, fast-paced little game with interesting movement and a decent amount of tension. But let's say you want less tension, more relaxation. Hamster Shelter has you covered. Hamster Shelter is a city builder game focused on establishing a little road network for your hamsters. Longer roads give you more money to buy more roads, unlock new buildings, and eventually go to Mars for some reason. How the hamsters are supposed to survive there, I've got no clue, but hey, game's gotta end somewhere, may as well end big. It nails the whole vibe of make number go up so you can buy stuff to make number go up faster, and is pretty satisfying. Buildings get more expensive the more of them you have, so you've gotta be strategic with them, and roads only bring money while connected to the hamster shelter, so you need to also think about that when altering your network. The in-game buildings really make your income take off too, so you get a last few minutes of grabbing upgrades and maxing everything out right before buying that Mars rocket. But that's not the only game about building and expanding things I've got for you this week. Ahoy is all about building a raft to survive in an ocean full of junk, mines, and I guess these guys are pirates or something? Unclear. Only 4 options: walkways, cannons, cranes to harvest resources for you, and sails to speed you along. But you've got to be careful about placement or you can easily cut yourself off. Your character has to physically walk to the part you're building and has to be right next to a cannon to reload it too, so ease of traversal needs to be constantly on your mind. Despite the simple setup, circumstances are pretty dynamic too. The raft loses parts when damaged and the direction of travel occasionally changes, so you need to constantly alter your design on the fly. The one point of frustration is that the cannons, which auto-aim, sometimes miss, causing you to lose parts of your raft unavoidably, and you don't always have the resources to stack up redundant cannons, which kind of feels like the game just decided, nah, you're losing some parts now. But there's no game over, you just get dumped back in the water to gather more stuff, so it's not too bad. In this last game, on the other hand, whether you take damage or not is almost entirely skill-based. Snow World is a 2-button RPG with an action command-based battle system. You've got a meter that refills while you do nothing, blocking drains the meter, and when it's full you can charge an attack. Time your blocks correctly, you take no damage. You've got a route consisting of a series of encounters with the occasional branch, picking more or fewer encounters before going back on the main path. Shops give you 5 seconds to buy each item, forcing you to make decisions in a hurry, and each boss you beat adds an extra section to your charge bar, allowing you to spend longer charging up a stronger attack. Not many elements to it, but it wrings as much depth out of them as possible. It'd be nice if it would give me some numbers for what the equipment does, though. Well, technically it does, since damage numbers come up on screen, but I'm a little busy watching my meters and checking the enemy for signs they're about to attack. I don't really have the attention to spare to compare those. A stat screen, so I can see what new equipment actually does for me. That would be nice. I'm guessing it increases my attack and defense power, but I'd have to review my footage and compare damage numbers before and after picking up something to see. Still, pretty satisfying game. I'm probably going to keep coming back at it until I've beaten it. Made it to the last world as of this recording, but died pretty early on. So that's the game I played last week. If you want to hear about the ones I play this coming week, hit the subscribe button. Maybe like the video or leave a comment to make me feel good and boost the vid in the algorithm. And play some good games this week.